biggest impact on me as a teacher was the opportunities that it opened up for some of my students. One of my students, Mario, he got an internship at UCLA through the partnership, and after that, he ended up being quoted in the New York Times through his work in the class and all that. And I feel like that doesn't just happen right in every class, and so it's really nice to have that opportunity for that student. I asked some of the teachers that I work with what their thoughts were. Marcel says that this is the easiest classroom to teach, and it's because the students are very engaged. They really run with the Scratch and the web design and the robotics, and they have lots of fun. And he doesn't have any problems. He also teaches AP Computer Science, which is where he's always trying to find students to take the class. He doesn't get enough during the close of class. But he says with Exploring Computer Science, it's no problem at all. I mean, the kids talk and they tell their friends, look, we're doing this with Lego robots, and so he has like more than enough kids trying to get into the class. It's great. It's a great problem to have. Let's see. I also asked a couple other teachers. A very common thing they said was the community that's being built with Exploring Computer Science amongst the teachers. Many of them said that they're the only computer science teacher at their school. So, when there's time to plan, they're kind of on their own. Or if they're in a department, their department is them, and there's a couple of teachers that teach typing, and sometimes like a random other kind of like teacher that doesn't fit in any other department, like the business teacher. So they don't really have anybody to collaborate with. But through the PDs, they get to actually physically meet with the teachers. Since they know them, they feel free to email them and ask them questions. I'm also running a group at one of the high schools after school, 4 o'clock on two Mondays a month. And teachers actually drive from other high schools afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
And they come there and meet.
That's a big deal in LA.
That's a big deal.
No,
I mean,
it really is. And it's not even it's maybe a 20-minute drive to get there. We have like teachers from 4 schools there, but the penalty to drive home afterwards is the big thing. Right?
Yeah.
Now we're ending like around 5 something, and and there'll be times where I'll leave the meeting, and some of the other teachers stay behind, and they talk some more, they plan, they share resources. And lastly, some of the teachers at Roosevelt High School, I asked them, and for them the biggest thing about Exploring Computer Science is it actually stopped them from being displaced from their school.
Wow.
With all the budget cuts, many of the schools had to, they knew they were going to have to reduce the number of teachers, and so the idea is what were they going to cut? A lot of the schools ended up saying, well, we get tested on all the core subjects, so we can't really cut teachers there, right? Because that's going to affect our test scores. So where do they look? At the electives. And so they're looking at the electives, and I'm sure you've heard of a lot of schools cutting like music programs and stuff like that. Well, they were going to cut the computer science teachers. But when they found out that Exploring Computer Science met the G requirements, the college prep requirement in California, they said, okay, well that bumps them up, so we should keep them around and maybe cut some other teachers, which is still unfortunate. But for these teachers, they were able to stay at their school because of Exploring Computer Science.
And then easy. So what we did was we decided to prepare some questions to ask Easy Money on the fly in front of you. We showed them to him too.
Oh boy, pressure.
Answer. But because we wanted to be authentic and give him a chance to just speak freely, so we're going to ask you some questions in a little interview. So before taking Exploring Computer Science, had you taken any other computing classes?
Actually, no. Before I took computer science, I wouldn't necessarily say I was computer literate because, just like a lot of kids, I know how to use the basic programs, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel. But I had never taken a computer class, and I was actually kind of skeptical about computer science because I didn't think I was capable of it. So I was hesitant to enroll in the class, but once I got there, a lot of things changed.
Why did you feel hesitant? Why did you think that you were capable?
One, because of the stereotype people put on computer scientists. You know, one thing that I thought a computer scientist was somebody that sat in a dark room for 12 hours a day, writing code and troubleshooting, and they'd get out for about 5 minutes to go to the bathroom, and they'd go back in for another 12 hours.
They do.
So I was afraid of that kind of lifestyle. So, but after a while, I realized that if anybody can be a computer scientist, it doesn't matter what kind of person you are. Like you don't have, like when I look at computer science, I look at engineers. A lot of them are like old guys walking around in suits and ties, and they're always frowning because they never have time to do anything fun. And then I look at myself, who is a varsity athlete, who is a talented musician, and who's doing anything he can to better his future, and I'm happy with what I do. I love computer science.
Awesome. Thank you. What have you learned about solving problems as a result of ECS?